But wait, you're saying, Harry, you're saying that there's a cost to salvation? No. Grace and salvation is free. Grace and salvation, free gift of God. For the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ. Grace and salvation is free, but when it decides to become a disciple, when it gets down to following after Him and committing yourself to following the teachings of God, God says it takes more than just coming to church on Sundays and going to a Bible study on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or whenever you meet together. It takes more than just doing good deeds every now and again. It's a lifeblood commitment where I am number one. I am number one. I'm not number one. Jesus says He is number one. He has to be number one. Everything else go off to doesn't matter in light of Him. And He doesn't just want you to blindly jump into this, but He says, He gives examples for you to think about. Yes, you can be a follower of Christ without being a disciple. But He says if you're going to be a disciple, think about what it's going to take. Think about what it's going to cost. And He gave two images. One of a guy decided to build a house. If you've ever seen the building of the house, it's a lot of steps. And before you do it, you got to sit down and plan out your budget and figure out if you can do it, right? Engineers in the room, you know about this. You can make the plans. You make the plans. You plan out what materials you're going to need to use this. You get your permits, figure out how much they cost, and then you look at your budget and you realize that, I don't have enough money to do this. I can't afford to do this. I can't do this. Do you even start the project? No. Because if you started the project, you'll end up like some buildings I've seen down in Columbia, South Carolina that have not been finished. Just stuck in the middle of process because they ran out of cash and they can't put a roof on the building. And a building with no roof on it is useless. And then He gives another image of a team, army going to war against another army. And are they going to sit down with 10,000 men? Do they have the supplies? Do they have the weaponry to go against the other country? That's why Canada hasn't invaded America yet. Well, I'm not saying that they're planning on it, but the army in Canada is probably not as big as the army in the United States of America. Probably not as big as the army that's in Maine. I love Canada. God bless Canada. They're good. I know some good Canadians. They're okay people. But they sit down and you got to figure out, do I have the manpower? Do I have the technology? Is this a superior force? Or am I going to go in there and am I getting that butt kicked and stopped? So He sends out a delegation to make peace before we go to war. Swap some Canadian bacon for some American sausage, something like that. Here we have, so this is the challenge Jesus has laid down for you. He's saying, do you have what it takes to be a disciple of Christ? Do you have what it takes? Are you willing to give up what you need to give up? Are you going to pay the cost to follow me and be a disciple of Christ? Because this thing cost your life. This teaching cost Jesus His life. And He said in His word that the servant is not greater than his master. They persecuted me. They killed me. What are they going to do to you? It's 100 commitment. If you don't have what it takes, if you don't think you have what it takes, get up now. If you got what it takes, commit yourself to it and keep committing yourself to it. Because the final verses make no sense unless you think that those people who continue and don't stop, and those people who commit themselves to it and then fall out in the middle of it. Salt. Found these wonderful things. tonight? Pretzel bagels. Yeah. Interesting. And in the bag of pretzel bagels is a bag of salt. So that's, you love salt on pretzels, don't you? You love, every word you wrote on the first word. You love salt on pretzels. Salt makes everything taste good, right? If it's too salty, is that possible to have something too salty? Yeah. Well, sometimes. Yeah. Salt is good. We are called the salt of the earth. Salt is used for preservation, right? To can vegetables and fruits, you use salt to do that. Salt is good to make your French fries and your pretzels taste better, right? But there is a time that salt, can you imagine salt losing its taste? Can you imagine what salt would taste like if it didn't taste like salt? It would be nasty. It'd be just like adding white sprinkles to your whatever. And they said it's not good anymore. If it loses its salt, there's no point in having it. And they would take it and they would mix it with manure and throw it out. If we commit to following Christ, commit to being a disciple of Christ, and then suddenly we decide not to do it anymore, it's like unsalted salt. It's not good anymore. So we know what it takes. We know what being a disciple takes. It takes everything. All of you. That doesn't mean you quit your jobs, sell everything you got, and commit yourself to ministry. Believe me, that doesn't pay very much. It doesn't mean that you sell all your possessions, and you follow Christ out, and you live in a box on the street with Shane Claiborne and his folks. That doesn't mean you do that. It means that you acknowledge that God is in control, that Jesus is the only one worth following, that you follow his teachings, you learn about them, you put them into practice, and Jesus becomes your number one priority in life. That's the cost of being a disciple. Are you ready to pay it? These are the questions we have to ask. Am I ready